What's going on, everybody? Let's see, where are we at? Oh, yeah. As you seen by the last video, I did turn the truck into SFI. Um, they have a remarketing fee, which is $5,000. It's in the lease, which I knew there was going to be a small balance left. Which SFI, there's no complaints. The process is simple. The truck was nice. I signed papers knowing full well what the payment was. Again, I was all brand new to that process as far as that goes, and I made money. As I said in the last video, if you watch the whole video, I gave my 6-month income because I started in July 1st, and of course the year ends December 31st. So I gave that number. So if you want to know what that number is, go watch the last video. But I think I did well, even with being new at this and learning the process. But where we're at right now, last video, we were talking to Lone Mountain on a used truck with them. It's a lease purchase program with Lone Mountain, but the difference is there's no out. Once you sign the papers, it's yours till the end of that term, and they hand you the title. Period. If you walk away from it, they're going to come after you for the money. Period. So you want to be extremely smart and cautious when dealing with any company like that, not just Lone Mountain. I took a 3-day trip to Tifton, Georgia, which is the sales lot closest to me. They do have one in Texas, about the same distance, but the truck I was looking at was there. So I went to Tifton, Georgia. Stayed in a hotel the night before, got up the next morning, went and looked at the truck. I was pretty sure it was a U.S. Express truck just because of the color. I was correct. The only plus side of this truck was the fact that they did put new Virgin Drive tires on it. But based on what I was looking at, and you wouldn't wear the tires out very much because I think it would be sitting a lot. Maintenance on it hasn't been meticulous, to put it nicely. Nothing about the truck instilled confidence. Nothing. Not a thing. It had the typical Freightliner pop when you hit the brakes, which, it could have been, leaf spring bushing. It could have been a brake drum. A lot of things can cause that. It typically happened when, you're turning. But anyway, the truck just felt worn out. The transmission was an auto shift, which is not what I want in a used truck, just because there's a whole list of issues that can happen with all the automation and electronics that are on those transmissions. But the transmission did not feel solid. The truck, the steering was extremely sloppy in it. It did show some wear on the outside edges of the steer tires. I couldn't look at the tires that came off of it because they had already switched out for new Virgins drive tires. And when I drove it again, it was extremely sloppy. My question to the salesman that I spoke to there was, would they be willing to put an alignment on it? Basically, the answer was no. His excuse was they didn't have an alignment shop, or they didn't do alignments at their shop. There's a Freightliner dealer a mile down the road. I'm pretty sure they would do it, but they weren't willing to do it. And for the price of that truck, they wanted over $39,000 would be the purchase price. That don't include it was not worth it. It just was not worth it for me. I was not going to buy that truck in the condition it was in. I just seen nothing but problems on the horizon there. So I looked at a Peterbilt 379 they had on the lot. Not a bad truck. I will say it was not a bad looking truck. It looked like it had been better taken care of. It had about 100,000 less miles on it. The down payment would have been another grand on top of what I'd already given Lone Mountain. But the problem was it didn't have a bunk heater. And a bunk heater, you can get a system for around 1,000, 1,200. install it yourself. It's a process, but if you have any mechanical ability, you should be able to knock it out. But again, right off the gate, you'll buy a truck and then immediately stick $1,000, $1,200 into it just to stay warm at night without having to idle the truck. But that brought up the question of, if it didn't even have a bunk heater in it, how many idle hours did this truck have? Because these after treatment systems in these newer trucks do not like to be idled. It causes a lot of issues. So that ended up not being an option. So I checked it off my list, and then they had a 2015 ProStar. It was worse than the original truck I came to look at. The hood, I thought the hood was going to fall off this thing when I opened it. I mean, it was that rickety. Just, I don't know where this truck came from. I couldn't see anything. You know, usually the stickers that are on company trucks, when they remove them, you still see the outline of the letters, but it was a white truck. And, you know, I couldn't see where it came from. It needed new headlight lenses. The cover for the relay fuse panel inside the truck on the passenger dash was off, laying on the floor, so that tells me something was going on where they had to get in there. It did have the new Virgin Drive tires, again, was the only plus of this thing. And the clutch in it, the Peterbilt clutch was extremely soft. I mean, it was way soft. This clutch, I almost had to stand on it to move it. And it's just, you got to be smart about these things. If anything gives you cause to pause, it's probably better to walk away. And that's what I did. So I went back. I got the room at the same hotel for another night. Got up the next morning, headed home. I stopped at one point and took a little break. And when I did, I called the rep I'd been dealing with this Lone Mountain, and asked for my deposit back, because their inventory, I haven't checked here in the last week, but their inventory was non-existent, more or less. You can buy a new truck. The downs are not bad if you want to go that direction, and the payments really aren't that bad compared to what I've seen with other new trucks. So, I mean, if you can swing that, that's definitely a good option. The payments would have been cheaper than SFI, but again, you're coming up with a chunk of money. And with more down, you got more of a selection with what they had available. Problem was, what I was looking at and what I was seeing did not justify the monies they wanted on their used trucks. Nothing against Lone Mountain. Obviously, it works for them because they got multiple locations, and I'm sure a lot of guys have run through that program and got a vehicle and been successful, and that's fine. And to each their own. But they didn't have anything that what I looked at. To make a comparison, if you've ever been on a buy here, pay here used car lot, those vehicles, they're high mileage, typically bought at warranty or at auction, and they're just worn out. But the thing is they'll get you into the car really easy as long as you just have a paycheck coming in. That kind of a scenario, But let's get past Lone Mountain. That's a done deal. Won't be using them for a truck. So what I did is I came home and I started looking at options. What could I do next to get a truck? Obviously, when I turned in the truck at SFI, there was a remarketing fee that they charge. My original deposit, coupled with my maintenance fund on the truck, covered the vast majority of that. I did have a small balance. That's paid in full. That's a done deal. We're good to go. So SFI was an option if I wanted to go back that route. Problem is, even if you get a used truck with them, The payment's going to be pretty close to the same, just because now you're going to pay less in payment, but they're going to make up for that with maintenance account money, because it is an older truck with some miles on it. And age creates issues of its own. Again, SFI is great. I paid the balance off because they offer you can either make a repayment setup with them. The faster you pay it back, pay off the balance, the little better discount they'll give you. But if you pay it off in full, basically you pay half of whatever the balance is. That's what I did. We're done. So moving forward, I decided, since I have a really good relationship with my credit union, me and my wife have been there for years. They've always treated us really well. So what I did there was I applied for a loan. It's been a little bit of a process because I don't know if I'm the first person to ever try to finance a semi-truck through them. But it sure seemed like it. Obviously, of course, they need to see income because I am self-employed. So they need to see that. That was, typical of most loans anyway, unless you got like a perfect credit score and they're just willing to sign you on a dotted line no matter what. Mine's not perfect. It's not bad, obviously, but it's not to that point where I can just sign for anything I want and walk away. So I applied for a loan amount based on the trucks that I've been looking at locally. And I got the email this morning, which is the 25th of February, approved. So awesome. And I really appreciate my loan officer, Sandy, and at Vibe Credit Union, which is based in Michigan. We've stayed with them even though we live south now, just because of the relationship we've had. If you get an opportunity to get into a credit union, you're not going to do yourself wrong as long as you do what you're supposed to do. If you take a loan, pay for it. And we've financed multiple things through them. And we've paid off a few things through them, and they've always been great. So again, they stepped up, and they approved, my loan amount. So what we're going to do next is we are going to, go look at a truck. So if you guys want to hang on, let's go look at a truck. This don't look like a truck dealership to me. I was going to do video over to the dealership, but it's just too much of a distraction from what I need to do, which is actually take a good look at the truck. So I did take a couple pictures, which I'm going to put, up here somewhere. The truck I originally looked at on the dealer's website was a white 2015 Freightliner. For 464,000 miles, with a DD15 engine. That's what the website showed. When I got there, and they wanted $34,995 is what it showed on the website. When I got there, the particular truck, somebody had taken a photo of a similar truck that they had already put through their process and put that on the website as that truck. Was not the case. This truck had not had anything done to it. It was sitting there in the back lot as it came in to them, hadn't been touched. So, I mean, just overall not a bad truck, but it was not well taken care of as far as upkeep. And it didn't have 464,000, it had 499,000 We never got to the price to verify that, because I had decided, that truck wasn't going to work for me anyway. So obviously I asked the salesman, I have a dollar amount max that I'm trying to stay with under. I can't even talk no more, much less drive a truck. So I asked him about, trucks in similar price range. He did have another one. It was a manual 10-speed, like the first one. We went and looked at it. It was in the back lot. It had not been processed either, but it was in pretty good shape. Cleanliness wise, it'd been relatively taken care of. It had a few more miles on it. It was a 14 instead of a 15. As you can see by the pictures, it is red. And it has an APU on it, which, and it runs good because I started it. The price on it, I went ahead because the tires, they're recaps. They've been on there a while. They still got some mileage left on them, but rather than buy the truck and then turn around and buy tires in 6 months, if they lasted that long, if they didn't pop one, I went ahead and had him quote me the price of the truck and 8 new drive tires. That way I can get it all financed into the complete package. The total price is $32,634. It comes with what they call a 60-day assurance warranty, and it also comes with a 1-year, 100,000-mile Freightliner factory warranty, which carries no deductibles. Sorry about I'm just dealing with sinuses again today. It seems like my normal process anymore. And then it has a 1-year, 100,000 after treatment, which is your DPF and everything related to that system, the one box. It has that warranty on it also. I have seen a couple of reviews on that warranty from drivers. Again, you have to take what you read with a grain of salt, because it's not always going to be 100% truthful or accurate, or generally it's somebody that's just upset. Maybe the issue wasn't covered, and But I only seen a couple, reviews, and somebody on here may have actual firsthand knowledge if you've ever dealt with it. But and getting repairs covered under this warranty. So who's to say? I did see a video. A gentleman bought a truck with this particular warranty set up on it, and what happened was they covered everything but like $1,000 or a little over $1,000 on the truck. It ended up being a $7,000 repair. So again, maybe you got to you got to keep up your maintenance. You can't just run 50,000 miles and not change oil. Have PMs done, the normal maintenance stuff. Maybe that has something to do with it. Who knows? I'm just saying what I've seen and read. But anyway, that's what it has. So for $32,634, it's got tons of warranty. It's got an APU. It will have new drive tires on it. Granted, I am paying for it, but it will be in the financing on the truck, which is through my credit union, obviously, which I've already stated earlier. And my interest rate is going to be in a good place. So Sorry I didn't get video when I go back, because now the truck is going to go through their process. Nice thing about it is they clean up the back frame, they paint it, fifth wheel's in good shape. They do, you know, a PM on it. They change the fluids, do all that good stuff. It will come with 4 brand new batteries. That's part of their process. It will have a 3-wheel or 3-axle alignment done on it, which is, you know, hey, it should be good to go. The brakes look to be in great shape. I didn't see anything there. This one does have the DD15 engine in it, whereas the first one I looked at had the Cummins versus the Detroit that it advertised. I do like the Detroit engines. Every truck I've ever been in that's had one, it's always been I've never had issues with the truck per se with that engine in it, other than a coolant leak. But yeah, it looks like that's what we're going to be driving. So submitted the buyer's agreement over to the credit union. I did put $400 deposit down on it because it was the last of these trucks that they had. So yeah, you know, I think it's going to be a good deal. It seems, you know, again, when they get done in processing the truck and everything they got to do, you know, I will relook at it for sure and get that done before I take delivery of the truck, just to make sure. But yeah, that's where we're at. So I'm going to get off here. I'm going to edit this video and get it up, because I know you're all just waiting for me to post a video. But as always, I appreciate you taking the time. Be safe. We'll talk to you.